Okay, so the infusion is kicking my ass, but I've got 10 minutes and I've got a cup of tea, so let's do this. This is all the figures that I didn't get to review in 2019. Okay, so first off, the Infinity War line. I pretty much barely reviewed any of these figures in 2019, mostly because I was in actual fact getting these quite late compared to everybody else. I did pick them all up in 2019, but it was just, I think the Mark 50 was a reissue. This Thor was secondhand, as was Cap. Iron Spider was on sale on an eBay store, and I can't remember where I got Black Widow. I think I just bought her off eBay as well, first hand, but yeah, I think I just got her off of there. And honestly, when I got them, by the time I got them, I figured, well, there's so many videos of these guys out there. There's a billion reviews of them. There isn't much I can say that hasn't already been said about these guys. There's a few modifications on Cap, namely the shields. The person I bought it off cut out the grips on the shields, and then that was just so the shields can sit closer to the hands and you can use the closed fists so they grip them properly, which looks really accurate. It's a bit more difficult to move around and stuff because of it, but it does hold the shields closer to the forearms and makes everything just a little bit tighter. Also, the head sculpt is really great. Yeah, there's been some criticism about it, but after seeing Endgame and seeing where Cap's character went, I don't think there's going to be any more of this kind of bearded Cap anytime soon in the MCU. I think this is it. So if you didn't pick this guy up, this is an original look. It's once in a movie cinematic universe look. So if you didn't pick him up, I'd go ahead and try and hunt him down, because I don't think you're going to get another one like him anytime soon. Iron Spider, obviously I picked up Iron Spider, and one of the criticisms I have of Iron Spider was that sort of leakiness of the suit, that sort of orange film that was forming on some people's suits. It's not great. It does have a bit of foreboding about it when you think that maybe in years to come that suit is going to fade. It's a QC issue, and I'm really worried about that. But it's not that big a deal, because when I bought this guy, he was on sale, and then I actually took the original Tom Holland head sculpt and I resold that on eBay. So this whole figure didn't cost me much at all. It's a real knockdown price figure. So having it in the collection isn't a big deal for me. I got a really nice Iron Spider. He fits in with the Infinity War line, and he's okay. He's not great though. As you can see, the posing on him isn't amazing, is it? I mean, he looks a bit awkward, but that's the kind of situation you've got with that suit. It's going to crease, it's going to bend, it could stick together if you're not careful. I feel like Hot Toys did it because they had to, not because they really wanted to. And this was the best and easiest and simplest way they could make this figure without obviously turning it into sort of like an Iron Man die-cast style figure. So I think they were just covering their bases with it, rather than actually putting every effort they have in the world into making the best thing they could. Which is a shame, but again, Hot Toys, I get it. You know, some of the designs that Marvel do don't make a buttload of sense when it comes to trying to realise these sort of designs. It's easy to do anything in CGI. It's twice as hard to make a real, actual product from those CGI models. So yeah, I get it. But yeah, then I decided I reordered the reissue of Infinity War Cap. But Infinity War Cap was... He was taking ages to come out, the reissue, because I missed it the first time. I was going to buy it, but I'm one of these people, I procrastinate too much, and then sometimes I don't pick them up at all, or then they go to secondary market and they're sky high. So yes, once in a blue moon I do mess up. I try to correct myself. So when I had the opportunity to pick this guy up, I did. Someone was selling him on Facebook. It then allowed me to cancel my Sideshow version, which would have cost me more in actuality, because where we have to pay import tax on Sideshow stuff now, it can add like a fourth of the price, at least a fourth of the price onto a figure. So whereas normally you'd be paying, I don't know, $250 for a figure, $260 for a figure, we'll be paying $320, and that's £320. So it's a lot of money for each figure now. So again, it was one of those things where someone was selling this for about 200. So yeah, I was like, yeah, the maths work, I'll grab it. So I bought him. He's a really nice figure. I really like the design. I really like the eye patch. That's really cool. But I also like the way that they've designed the arms so they can actually sit down closer to his body now. A lot of the Thor Hot Toys figures, their arms puff out and they stick out too far to the side and they don't look supernatural. Whereas with this guy, you can actually push the arms down quite flush to his side and he looks a lot more natural. It's also some of the best armor arms I've ever seen. Still, the articulation isn't great, but it's still very nice design, very nice colors. And overall, I really like the figure. I think he's really cool. I've got the Bad Tomato axe because the reason it was so cheap was because it didn't come with the axe, and I was fine with that. I didn't want that small one anyway. I wanted the Bad Tomato. And then about 3 weeks after I bought this guy, they had a sale on AliExpress, and the prices of these axes just went right down for about 2 weeks. So yeah, I grabbed one really cheap. So yeah, that one worked out really well for me this year. And then of course we've got Infinity War Black Widow, and I really like the design of this lady. She's just really cool. I really like that green flak jacket she's got on. The weaponry is really awesome. I think they've kind of neutered her a little bit in the aggressive stakes because they're giving her stun battens and things like that now, which is probably more comic accurate. She's called the Black Widow because she can stun. But also at the same time, I used to like it when she used to have, carry guns there. So it was much cooler when she had like some weaponry. She looked like she could actually fight. It just baffles me why they always just go too far and neuter the characters. The more famous they get, the more they take away their aggressive traits, which made them cool in the first place. Look at the Ninja Turtles. I remember the cartoon of that. They all had nunchuckers, swords, bow staff, scythes. They used them as well in the cartoon. They used them, and then by the time the TV show was wrapping up, all they were doing was throwing grappling hooks everywhere, and it looked shite. So it was just, they really neutered a lot of the characters, and the more famous they get, the more concerned parents get. So in the end, everything ends up losing or getting watered down, and that was the same with Black Widow. She's been watered down a little bit, which is a shame, but still, it's very cool. I don't like the hair as much. Nobody does. It just looks too doll-like. A lot of people have actually put the roots in on the edge of the hair, just on the side parting, and that actually works a lot better. It looks a lot more natural, and I think I'll probably do that at some point. And then we come to the Mark 50, and what hasn't been said about the Mark 50? How many videos, how many photos have you seen of the Mark 50? That's why I didn't bother doing the video. What was I going to say after, because this is the reissue as well, so the videos have been out there for a while, so there wasn't much I could say about that figure in general that hadn't already been said. I really like it. I think it's a great design. I'm not as massive a fan of the Nanotech as, say, some other people. Some people are all about the Nanotech, but I prefer the big, bulky, machine-operated sort of big suits that he used to wear. I think that they're just cooler. Like the suit-up scenes are just cooler in general. The Nanotech, it's kind of a get-out-of-jail-free card for them. They can take the helmet off when they want. They put the helmet back on when they want. They can put the suit on when they want. They can take the suit off when they want. It's just, I'd much prefer when they have the big suits. And one of the restrictions of the character is that he can't do certain things because he's got his suit on, and there's certain things he can do because he's got his suit on, and vice versa. Whereas now they can just go, oh well, I'll take my suit off and do that, and it just gets them out of all the sort of writing plot holes without actually making any effort to ground the stories in reality. So I think that's a problem going forward with Nanotech in general, especially with Iron Spider and stuff. If he starts having these suits form on him and disappear off any time they want, it's going to get a bit lazy, and they can get a bit lazy with the writing. But also, one of the interesting things about the Nanotech is that I feel like there's a movie missing from the MCU, like an Iron Man 4 movie. Because when you got the first Iron Man, you had him developing the suit, you saw him recreating, like making this thing from scratch, and you followed him on that journey, and it was bloody awesome. And then I'd say they kind of kept that up with number 2. Sort of they developed War Machine, and that's how War Machine got created. We saw that being developed in number 2. And then number 3 came along, and you could see he was working out the sort of the armor where the parts can fly to him, and you know, you can put parts on and things like that. And it didn't work right first of all, but in the end he finally got it. And then you see in Age of Ultron the suit works a lot better, and it works great for him and all that type of stuff. And I got that. But then there was a bit of a leap between Age of Ultron to Infinity War, and it was just, you know, a throwaway line in the film. Oh, it's nanotech, you like it? And I was just like, well, there's a movie there somewhere where he was developing the nanotech. There's a story behind that somewhere. There's an adventure he went on to get the nanotech, and they never addressed it. Also, with Pepper Potts coming in Endgame in her suit, that would have been a great time in Iron Man 4 for her to be pushing for her own suit, you know. And I think Rescue could have had a part in Iron Man 4. I know, probably would have cost too much. Robert Downey Jr. would have demanded, you know, half the stock of the company or something to do it, which is probably why it never happened. But I do think there is an Iron Man 4 movie that was never made, and it would address all the issues about nanotech that we never got to see. But those are the Infinity War figures I didn't review, except for one more, and that's the most recent Infinity War figure I've got. Give me a sec and I'll grab it. And that is the Infinity War War Machine 4.0. And the last video I did was all about how I got this as a gift from both Sideshow and my wife. So the reason I didn't review it mostly was because I can't really review it because it was such a lovely gift. You know, you can't look a gift horse in the mouth, so to speak. So I really enjoyed this figure. What an amazing sort of present to get out of nowhere, you know. So instead of me gushing for a whole nother video, that's all I'm going to say on the matter. But War Machine 4.0 is an absolute chunk of a figure. The thing weighs a ton. There's so many little bits on the back there. There's so many details. There's so many guns and weaponry, and it's an insane piece. And I think Hot Toys did a blinding job with the paint app, because the paint application on the suit and the armor is almost like a sort of pixely sort of camouflage type thing. They did an amazing job recreating that. They've got all these little silver accents in there that look really good. There's only one real criticism I've got of this guy, and it's nothing to do with Hot Toys. It's got nothing to do with what Hot Toys did, and everything to do with the design of this 4.0 War Machine. And it's a simple one, but once I say it, you'll kind of notice it, and it might bug you as well. But it's it's that sort of whole waist sort of crotch area he's got here. He sort of goes down and then billows out at the end. It actually looks like he's got a bit of a diaper on, you know. But yeah, around the side it's not so bad. You can barely see it that much. It looks really nice from the side. But then if you turn it front facing all the way to the front, you can see it sort of sticks out a bit more. Yeah, and it looks like he's got a bit of a diaper on. But other than that, I really like the figure. I think it's an amazing piece. It's definitely one that if you get a chance to pick up, do so. Before we move on to the next one, I'm just going to have another sip of cold tea. Hang on. Oh, I needed that. Yeah, sorry if I'm sounding a bit husky and weird. Like I said, the infusion's kicking my ass, so I'm a little bit woo, a little bit wee, you know. But Stan Lee's a very interesting figure. This arrived a day after the War Machine 4.0 surprised me on my doorstep. So, you know, I wasn't in the best place to be able to do reviews and things like that. So when he turned up, I just unboxed him and everything. And he's got one of the most original boxes Hot Toys have ever produced. It's a bit of a privilege to be able to say you've gotten used to the Hot Toys packaging. So much so it bores you. But this guy, he came in his very own sort of blister pack and everything, and it looked really cool. It was really fun. In fact, the whole figure is just fun. And I think that's what you can really do with this guy that you might not be willing to do with other figures, is put him in all different weird scenarios and stuff, because that's the character. He turns up anywhere and everywhere in the MCU. So he could turn up anywhere in your collection. He's a bit meta like that, a bit like Deadpool, you know. You could just put him anywhere and he kind of fits in, because that's the way the character is, you know. You just turn up anywhere. But I really like this sort of design stand that they put him on. It's a very nice base. It's very simplistic, not very tough to do. It's not too heavy, which is good, because you can put him on a shelf like this and it's not going to break it, which is always a plus. But then you've also got this really nice suit. You've got all this like little bits of weathering around the edges, and it looks like proper weathering as well. It's the right place for the weathering to be. Then just slap the paintbrush over the whole thing, so it's really nice. And this sort of dome, yeah, the seam's not great, but that's just the way it is. I mean, you could easily say that's just part of the suit. And then you move around to the side, and that head sculpt is fantastic. Sorry, this guy keeps sliding down. I've wedged paper underneath him, because that's the only problem, is it's very hard for him to sit on this thing. So when you've got him, I've managed to wedge a bit of paper underneath, just so he looks like he's sitting on it a bit more comfortably. But I really like this head sculpt. This head sculpt is fantastic. I really like the glasses, nice detail in there. If we turn him around, we can see that there's that sort of air capsule suit. I don't know what that is. I don't know, space suits, fuck off. But yeah, he's got all these weird sort of funky little weatherings on the back, and this is magnetic, so it can come off and you can reattach it again if you so wish. I really like the design of the suit, guys. And also, with everything being red and blue in the MCU all the time, it's really nice to be able to have sort of like some other colours in there, and this yellow really pops, you know, so it's nice to be able to do green, red, blue and yellow now. So if you've got him with a whole bunch of other figures, he's going to really stand out in that collection, I promise you that. In terms of accessories, he doesn't really come with much. He just comes with some extra hands, but that's all you really need. I just stuffed this bottle of Jack Daniels in him because, you know, I like to think now that he's sort of retired from the MCU, he's kicking back on a moon somewhere, just getting really messed up, you know. It's a great figure that can complement any collection, and like I said, you can put him anywhere and he's going to look fantastic. One I definitely didn't review or look at this year was the first Starlord that Hot Toys ever produced, and I just got this again on eBay. Someone was selling it, and the reason I got it was because I absolutely love the big long coat on this guy. I think it's really cool. I absolutely love the design. I think all the shorter jackets he's gotten since are just not that good. I really like that little bag he's got in the back there. Unfortunately, there's a lot of pleather in this, so I have a funny feeling that this will degrade over time. But look at all these really nice bits of frayed weathering on the bottom of this coat. All these little studs all the way across the coat, all the panels. So many different details in it. It's really great. And he's also got this super cool weaponry, and they've even done like all the little scoring and carbon scoring just on the edges of it where he's firing stuff, and he's got that little grenade thing there. I absolutely love that head sculpt, and the eyes do light up. And I like that face mask, that's very cool. The only thing I would have probably liked is that sort of jetpack thing he wears as well. I could always pick that up second hand on eBay somewhere. But I absolutely love this figure, I think it's great. And the reason I didn't review it is because it was so old. But then maybe I should actually go back and start looking at some of the older figures that I never reviewed and doing them. But however, you know, there's one of the least popular things on my channel, believe it or not, are the Hot Toys. Because there's just so many people reviewing them. There's so many people out there. More people get them way earlier than I do. So me reviewing them, it's almost like just more white noise in a sea of white noise. So that's why I barely did any of the Infinity War figure reviews, because I literally picked them up late. They would have been very old by the time I got them, so there's no real point. In the UK, it's very hard to get early Hot Toys without paying through the nose for them. So this channel doesn't earn me any money, so everything I get, everything I buy has to come from my own wages, my own pocket, and I have to then weigh up what I can and cannot afford. So it's not something I can easily throw money at. I'm paid reasonably well, don't get me wrong, for my job. I mean, I wouldn't be able to afford one Hot Toy, let alone as many as I do, if they didn't pay me reasonably well. I don't get paid enough to just throw money at the problem, so I can get all the figures early and get all those sort of, pay all that extra cash for them. Anyway, I'm ranting now, so there's no point in me keep going on. I'm not even sure if I got this guy this year, but I'm pretty sure I got him this year. And he was one of my favourites. I'm really, really impressed by this guy. I've even done a special mention in my top Hot Toys of all time for this guy, because he's really, really great. And if you want to hear exactly what I say about it, go to that channel. If you haven't picked this guy up, Guys, go out there and hunt this one down. I promise you, they probably, very unlikely they will redo this one ever. And it's such a great, lovely looking piece that I think it will really complement anyone's collection. So do yourself a favour, go out there and pick this guy up, because I don't think we're going to see the likes of it ever again. And that's my honest opinion. But who knows, you know, if Hot Toys ever get desperate for characters or figures to release one year, you could find this as a Toy Fair exclusive updated version, but I very much doubt it. But yeah, those are some Hot Toys I picked up this year that I did not review. Okay, more figures I did not review this year was a slew of Marvel Legends. See, when I was going to the hospital, I would always go into Forbidden Planet before or after the appointment in London, and I would at least pick up a couple of Marvel Legends, just to, you know, if they piqued my interest, I would grab them. And these are, almost all of them were picked up this year, I think, in 2019. I say this year, last year now, isn't it? It's 2020 now, but all of these have been picked up. And I picked up all of these Spider-Men this year. In fact, I think that one there, my Mechs one, that's one of my favourite ones in the whole collection. It's a very cool Spider-Man figure. But yeah, I picked that one up this year, didn't review it. Same with the PS4 Spider-Man, the figure arts one, I think that is. And then we've got all these Spider-Men. You see, this one I picked up, and this one I actually picked up from Smith's in Smith's toy store, because I don't know if you know anything about the UK, but you can't just walk into a store and buy a lot of figures. In fact, toy sections in British stores are almost, they're primarily and exclusively for 4 and under. There aren't many figures out there that I would say we would collect that you would find in British stores. It's very hard to get, especially Marvel Legends. You've got to order them online if you want them, or go to a very specific shop like Forbidden Planet or some sort of comic book stores. But Marvel Legends are very tough to get in stores in the UK. But Smiths and Tesco, I think, got a bunch of figures in. I think they got 6 different ones. 2 Spider-Man, Mark 50 Iron Man, Black Panther, Captain Marvel, and I think the Captain America, sort of the nano suit from Endgame. They got that one in. It was very hard to get these. So when these came out in the store, I quickly grabbed quite a few of them, because I was like they're £15 rather than £20 for the average Marvel Legend, because they don't come with a builder figure. So they're a lot cheaper, but also at the same time, I just wanted to show my support, just to be able to say, look, we want these in the stores. So I think Hasbro have kind of listened a little bit, and they even put out a message on their Facebook page last year in the middle of the year saying, guys, we've heard you, we know it's a bit of a struggle to get our stuff in the UK, so we're trying to rectify that a little bit now. So I just wanted to show my support and say, look, we want these in the stores. I'd love to be able to go out and be able to go into a store and find something that I actually want. So I grabbed these, and these guys are amazing articulation. They really do pose very well. I actually love that Night Monkey one. I think it's really cool. And this Far From Home Spider-Man, it's problem with this one is that it came really badly painted. It was just red and black, and that was it. There was no black lines in there. There was nothing. So what I ended up doing was, it looked very toy-like. So I just did, I think it was the D-Star mod or something, he mentioned it. He said you spray it with matte, then you go over all the black lines with a 0.1 pen, then you spray it matte again, and then you have yourself a really decent Marvel Legends Spider-Man. So that's what I did, and I really like that. And you got the Iron Spider. He came with the Mark 50 figure that I bought from Forbidden Planet. But I really like the way they're all sort of spiraling upwards and flying out towards something. I think that's a great sort of little action diorama section here. So I won't be changing that anytime soon, I promise you. I did that ZD Toys review. Quite a few of the Revoltechs, Gambit and Iron Man I got this year. Or maybe even Deathstroke. I don't review those. I think there's too many people who review them, and what am I going to say that other people aren't saying? And also, my channel's called 16 Cave, so I don't tend to do a lot of 112 stuff. I do, but I don't do a lot of it. And I actually really like this Marvel Legends Rescue. They did a great job on her. Some really nice paint apps. And that Mark 85 is really good, but you can see the difference between the ZD Toys paint app and this Marvel Legends one. And you could tell, like, if they could do the ZD Toys paint app on the Marvel Legends figure, you'd have an amazing Mark 85 Iron Man for the collection. And my sister picked up this Punisher War Machine Marvel Legends figure for me for Christmas, which is really nice of her. I really like that. I think it's very cool. They just, for some strange reason, at the end of last year, they just suddenly started pumping up Punisher War Machine stuff. I don't know what happened or who agreed to it, but everybody started doing it. I think Hot Toys have got one coming out now, Punisher War Machine, and I do have that on pre-order. I've been paying it off for nearly a year now, so I'm really looking forward to that figure. But it's a very nice semi-posable Marvel Legends. Very nice paint apps on the chest. Really like the way they sort of put skulls on the body here and stuff like that. Say like it's like his kill count or something. It's very cool. And then of course I bought loads of the Marvel Legends Endgame line, just so I could pick this mad bastard up. Bro Thor. Absolutely think that's an awesome figure. Really enjoyed playing around with this, but obviously I didn't review any of these. I'm not a Marvel Legends reviewer, really. I mean, you've got all the big guys who do it. Maybe in the next year, if I have the energy and the time, I might do some more. Maybe start branching out into 112 stuff a little bit more. But we'll see. We'll see what sort of time constraints I've got. But I really like that guy. And then we're going to move over here. You can see these are some of the Mechs, and I got that Endgame War Machine, which is okay, but as you can see, I've done some mods to it. I've painted bits on it to try and improve it, because it was lacking in paint application. So just added more silver into the parts that I felt needed to be silver, because it was one of those things, it was one of those rushed things right at the end of the movie. Even the designer of the suit, who did it like black and grey or sort of charcoal and silver, he was like really shocked and surprised when he saw it blue and red, because he was like, that's not how it was designed. That wasn't what it looked like up until the end. And then suddenly I think they just did a colour change quickly at the end, and you could tell, because the colours, they're not great, if I'm honest. The colour scheme isn't amazing. I don't know why they did Iron Patriot. Should have been War Machine. Definitely War Machine colours. And there's the Freddy review I did. There's a few of the movie Mechs. Great figures. If you get a chance to pick those up, I would seriously recommend you do so. And we've got some Hela from Mezco. We've got loads of the Marvel Legends figures which double up to help with my Ragnarok collection, including Korg, Valkyrie, etc. So those figures I picked up this year. And this one's a really big surprise to me. Optimus Prime 3.0 or 3A technically, but you know, it's all under 3.0 banner now. This DLX Optimus Prime. This arrived yesterday, and I have to be honest with you, I was really surprised, because I actually cancelled the order for this guy, but he somehow still turned up on my doorstep, so don't know how that happened, but yeah, I'm very chuffed to have him in the collection, and I'm absolutely stunned by the design on this guy. Seriously, the articulation is amazing. Absolute amazed at the amount of engineering that's gone into this guy. The details, the markings, the way you can pull the arms out into like a sort of big butterfly joint, put them back in. The ankle pivot is stunning. you can literally pull up all these bits here, and then you can get these legs out really far. You can literally do a Van Damme splits if you really want him to. And he's got really good torso articulation here, but also at the same time, when you come around the back and you bend him forward, there's more sculpting underneath the top part, so to extend that spine out so it looks like he's just got more spine. And it's amazing. Seriously guys, these DLX figures by 3.0 for these Transformers are just, they've got everything you would want, except for maybe the fact that they transform. Which is, I can understand purists who are just like, what's the point of having a Transformer if it doesn't transform? But I'm a kind of guy that would always display a Transformer as a robot rather than, you know, as a, you know, a vehicle, because I'm not a big vehicle fan anyway. It's not like I absolutely love vehicles, but I do like robots who can change into vehicles. And I also like the fact that they have all the different markings on there to make them look like all the parts of the vehicle are on there already. So I absolutely love that. So these DLX figures by 3.0 now are just amazing. They're absolutely quality examples of what can be achieved by a figure company when they actually put their hearts and souls into a design. Probably some of the best figures of this year, absolutely. And I think Bumblebee actually came out at the arse end of last year, like 2018, sort of the arse end, but he's also the main release was early 2019, I believe. So technically he kind of counts, he can count as a 2019 release. So all of these figures that are coming out in 2019, they nailed it. I'm really tempted to pick up Blitzwing now. So in their era, they've actually probably made more money out of me, because I'm going to pick up other figures in the line, I reckon. And then just quickly, I've moved some stuff around to try and fit the Infinity War stuff just there, which I really like. I haven't fully completed the design yet, but I'm doing some work in here to try and rearrange everything, because it's 2020 now and Endgame's coming out, and they've just released the Endgame Thanos. So I was just like, Jesus, it's already started. I wasn't prepared, you know. I was like, I'm gonna have to start saving up now just to try and make sure I can get all the figures that I pre-ordered on time. But it's one of those things where you just have to be very, very careful about what you pre-order. Do the maths first, guys. Don't overstretch yourselves. Don't stress. You know, these are figures, they're enjoyable, but you don't have to get everything in the collection to be complete. Even one figure, one hot toy is expensive. But I absolutely love my collection now. I think it works really well. So what have I got coming up on the channel? I definitely going to do a few more of the HC Toys reviews. People seem to really enjoy those, so I'm definitely going to be doing a few more of those. And the next one I've got coming up is the HC Toys Iron Patriot, which they've just released. So I'm going to be snatching that up and having a look. After the Mark 6 debacle, I'm not holding out much hope for that figure. But yeah, I'm getting it to review and have a look at. So be on the lookout for that as soon as it arrives. What else have I got coming? Oh, I've got some NECA Turtles coming up. Yeah, I ordered, like, I had some Amazon vouchers, so I ordered some of the NECA Turtles. I think it's Leonardo and Shredder and Michelangelo and a Foot Soldier. And I'll probably be doubling down on that line as well, because those look fantastic. And then we're going to see what else comes up in the new year. All I'll say is, if you keep an eye out for figure announcements, if you see anything and it's absolute tosh, you know, like the prototype looks terrible, the whole thing looks awful or whatever, you know, just hit me up, let me know. Just put a comment in one of my videos just so I can see it, you know, and I'll go take a look at it and I'll put it into a list for next year's Razzie Awards. I'll do that next year because people seem to really enjoy that video. So if you haven't seen it yet, go back and do the 2019 1/6 scale Razzie Awards video, because people really enjoyed me doing that. And I'm sorry my voice is still very because I am just really struggling at the moment, but not for long. Hopefully these infusions stop now. I only have to do them now once every 6 months, so hopefully I'll just be getting better and better and stronger and stronger. and then just once every 6 months I'll feel like crap for a week or two, and then back to normal. The next year is going to be an absolute blast for the channel. Okay guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe, and if you can do me a favour now, if you can get the fuck out of my cave. I've still got a lot more rearranging to do in this display room. Take care guys, bye bye.